vase today. And let's make sure. Go. And yeah, that ought to do. Okay. Cool. Bigger piece today.
first cut is always the toughest one. It's the biggest decision. Let's take a stab. Get it checked up. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? We're just making some shavings this morning. So I'm going to swap out the live center. And I'm going to use the big chuck today. you don't mind, because YouTube doesn't show me, do you mind dropping in the comments what country you're watching from right now? I'm trying to figure out who is watching my streams. It'd be great to know where in the world you are if you're watching this. Are you a night owl in Europe? Are you a maniac on the West Coast who's up way too early like me? We can do some work from here. The forbidden toilet paper roll. Egypt? That's amazing. Michael, super cool. Thanks for being here. Carson in North Carolina. Love it. I like NC. I haven't been in a while. Let's see. All right. So I think the idea is I want to keep this high shoulder. I'm going to try to go with a pretty small opening today. And then I'm going to try to drag this down close to a point. I want to leave a little bit of meat on the bottom while I'm hollowing just so that I don't rip the entire thing off. Don't ask me how I know that that happens sometimes. But yeah, that's the idea. So let's get to it, huh? Beautiful. So on the face here, still a little bit of glue. Now we need to establish the mouth. I don't know, I want to see if I can do it like here. Come on. Yolk. Then so that's our bead. Yeah, we'll go with the smaller mouth today and then start working on this external profile. McDonough, Georgia. I haven't been to Georgia in a long time. I had a buddy when I was younger, moved to Alpharetta, and I spent a summer out there on the lakes, just like inner tubing and generally being a maniac. And it had not occurred to me before I went down there that fireflies were a real thing. I still think about the fireflies. I gotta get my kids down there at some point to show them. Still think about the fireflies in the woods. Okay, so obviously shoulder's pretty high. I'm gonna back this off a little bit, and then we're gonna start working down towards the base. I'm gonna try to keep as much support down here as I can until I start really like being sure of the shape up top. And then, yeah, hollowing. I'm just gonna try to bang through it today. I did one yesterday that was pretty long. Actually, no, we'll keep the tool rest. We'll keep the tool rest. Shear straight. You can really tell, like that's kind of what we get off of the shear scrape. You can tell it's compositionally different than what we get off of the spindle gouge there. So all I'm doing, taking the bowl gouge, rolling it over until I'm just presenting the bottom of that flute, and then I'm dropping the handle a little bit. And just taking a light scraping cut there, just to refine that shape a bit. And the reason that I'm being so stingy about it on the top is that this is all end grain, right? This is the way the tree was growing. So sanding this stuff up here is a huge pain. So I want to try to get it right with the gouge if possible. Sanding over here, piece of cake. Sanding up top, not so much fun. So let's start getting the rest of the shape nailed down. Yeah, if you just got here, what RPM? Let's see. 820. I'll probably start slowing it down in just a second here. I do want to remove a little bit more material from the base, and then once this starts getting thinner, I'll start slowing it down a little bit. One of my favorite turners once said, "Speed is your friend right up until it isn't," and wise words. All right. So you can tell we made some pretty big decisions here already. Let's see. So I'm just going to try to refine the shoulder up here a little bit. I kind of have this like streak running through it a little bit, so I just want to smooth that out if I can. Touch more up here. Top's looking okay. Oh, the dog's barking outside. All right, hold on. So I know that feels like a lot of scraping, just like a lot to do about this. The reason that I'm doing it is that this is pretty wet still. Let me see, do I have my moisture around me? Look at that, actually prepared. So, 23.8, almost 24%. So the issue is the second I start hollowing this, the outside's not going to be as stable anymore. So this is kind of my chance to get it firmed up. The reason I'm leaving a little bit of meat on the base is because this will start to become unstable as well. So I just want a little bit more back here. So yeah, let's get to the fun bits. Let's hollow. I think I can swap drill bits today. Actually, I don't have to use the. This is the one I was using on the live stream yesterday, and I think that's plenty of drill bit probably. But what I'm gonna do, I think I can get away with a slightly smaller one today. So yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna go basically all the way on this. All right. I gotta move my headstock around a little bit. Thanks for the thumbs up, folks. If you like wood turning, this is a nice place to subscribe. Gonna have a nice video coming out next Saturday where I do a big super figured walnut Hollowform, and I talk a little bit about the craft process and when it starts to feel like maybe you're selling out, when the decisions you're making are about art, when the decisions that you're making are about commerce, what it's like to sell stuff. So yeah, if you like wood turning, if you've ever thought about selling your craft, please feel free to tune into that. I put a lot of work into that video. I think it's a good one. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna drill a depth hole. Let's see. So one thing that the hollowing scrapers are not very good at, here I'll show you one. One thing that they're not very good at is that little point in the middle where the wood isn't rotating. So I drill a hole so that I always have like a wall that I can start to scrape against, because otherwise I'm just trying to push into wood that's like not technically moving. Well, my dog is being a loudmouth right now. You might wake up the kids. Normally he's a good dog. He's about 8 pounds. He's not very bright, but he's very sweet. Basically like a, I don't know, like a guard cat, I guess. So slowing the lathe down to about 350, and I know I'm just gonna plunge here. Clear, and we'll right up against it there. Beautiful. I think this is right about where I want to be, so that lets me know where to move this to. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, if you don't mind, let me know in the comments where you're from. I don't get to see it, the analytics for like 48 hours afterwards. So let me know what country you're in, so that I know, is my stream just reaching the United States, or have we managed to go worldwide here? All 133 of you beautiful, beautiful people. Alrighty, so setting up the hollowing tools now, just getting them tight in the handle. The hollowing tools that I use were not intended for this handle, so I have to use an adapter. And then what I like to do is raise the tool rest a little bit. That way I'm always operating on a downward angle, which means that I have a negative rake to the scraper. And then if I feel like the cut's still too aggressive, I'll just roll my hand over, negative rake both ways. Let's move some wood. starting to cook there a little bit. So I've been trying to be as aggressive as I can with this this straight tool, just to remove as much as possible, because the hook tools, they tend to get pretty torquey. I have to slow down. I just can't move material as quickly. So yeah, recently I've just been trying to be aggressive. I got to move you guys out of my my elbow range here. Just a sec. Come on, come back. There we go. All right. Okay, the 2-year-old is up. Beautiful. He's got to go back to sleep. It's like 6 a.m. Hold on. Just a sec. He's good. All right. Cool. Morning, Greg. So I haven't gone all the way to the bottom. I probably hollowed to like here. I want to keep some stability in the base, but now I'm going to start scraping out on the inside a little bit, trying to get like into this portion of the shoulder. Trying to keep as much weight in the base as I possibly can for now, just because it makes it more stable. All right, so what we swap to is curve tool. This is the Trent Bosch tools in the Carter & Son brace. I do have the Trent Bosch hollowing stabilizer. It is nice. I saw a couple friends who were doing freehand hollowing though, and A, it looked like a fun challenge, and B, I didn't really like having to manipulate the stabilizer brace all the time. Like so many screws and stuff to adjust, and I don't know, I found it's just it's a lot faster to just get in there with your hands. All right, so I have to back this off because if I try to hollow with the curved portion, now the cutter is off center from its tool rest support and it'll torque. So what I want to do is make sure that I have the entire curved portion exposed. And that way, see, if I put the other tool rest here, right, then it's in line with the cutter, right, straight line with the cutter. And then I don't actually have any rotational torque. Whereas if I put the tool rest here, then I'm hanging this thing out over the edge. hanging this thing out over the edge. So that's the general idea there. So let's see what I got here. I can go a little bit closer here. There we go. All right. And we'll slow it down. Start at like 370. See how we go. Progress there. This is starting to come a little bit loose. Still got some mass to remove there. Hey, what's going on? Do I sell these vases? Yes, Sandy, I do. I don't get out much these days. I got a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and another one on the way, so I only get out a handful of times a year. But yeah, I try to sell basically just to make room for new stuff. It's not a big portion of my income. If you're thinking to yourself, that looks loud and violent. Yes. That compressor's gonna turn on at any moment. Sorry, just to prep you, the compressor's loud. All right, so we're getting close up here. Still a fair amount of meat. Starting right about here, there's a shelf, so I have a lot to remove back here. I'm just trying to get this a little bit thinner on the way. Nice grain on this, though. I'm gonna keep this little flash of heartwood here. Or sapwood. I thought about taking it out, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it'll be a cool contrast once I get to the end of the piece. All right. Yeah, let's keep going. Oh no. Oh, that's a minor disaster. Shoot. Well, I had like 8 or 9 nice ones in a row. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Alright, let's figure out how we're gonna salvage. First things first. I'll bring in and show you what happened here. Oh, that's a bummer. Dang. Minor tragedy right there. Dang. Okay, well, gotta rethink the mouth, obviously. Okay, let's cut away whatever I can't use, and then start to think about what we can do with what's left. Ah, that's a drag. I was excited about this shape too. All right. Well, we just get back to it, right? Dang, shame. All right. Here's the other thing. It started to pull loose from the cup a little bit. It was a pretty big catch. And almost. And not quite. Okay, well, what I actually might do is roll a couple beads out here and thin this down a little bit. So, there you go. We're just gonna try some stuff since this has been kind of a disaster so far. Okay, so that's our new opening, I think. I might just cut this a little bit here. I think I'll sand that in a little bit. So, all right, start to finish hollowing. My 2-year-old is up way earlier than he has any right to be. So I guess the good news is if I can get this shoulder thinner, I have a lot more access now. So I'm gonna back y'all off. Let's start a little under 300. Still pretty ready. All right. There we go. All right. I'm gonna switch y'all. Here we go. I'm going to tighten up the tool. We're getting okay here on the sides. So now we can start removing a little bit deeper. Go. go. Swap it around. We're getting close to the bottom there, maybe? Yeah, actually. Okay, cool. Cool. We might be able to finish this in time to get the boys ready for school. Use a bit more. All right, I'm going to move you guys out of elbow range again. Hey, hit me in that chat with where you're from so I know where my stream is reaching. Just the city's fine. Please don't leave your home address. New Hampshire, beautiful. What's the weather like up there right now? Okay. Decent thickness here. I have a lot of scraping to do on the inside. Oh no, not at the bottom yet. Okay, I have a little more to do there. Oh yeah, the problem that I'm running into is that the catch that I had earlier left some unevenness on the wall, and now it's just like banging me around a lot. Mornings are mid-50s. That sounds perfect, man. That's my favorite kind of weather. We got a light sprinkling of rain here in California the other day, and it was just it was perfect. This is the mildest summer that I can actually remember in California. I've lived here my whole life, and yeah, it was like suspiciously cool all summer, which look, I'm not going to complain about. I'm here for it. Okay, so I think I need to start scraping because I believe that we're at the bottom there. Yeah. Well, let me see if I can remove a little bit more bulk from like this area here. But then yeah, we just got to get to it. Got to turn it up a little bit. So you can tell that was a little bit better. So slowed down the cut, rolled it over, and I changed the speed of the lathe, which seems to help kind of like change the frequency of the bouncing. Let's see. Like 24 minutes to get a Hollowform out of this thing. Let's make it happen. But thick in the bottom. Let's check it out. Yeah, we're still pretty thick all the way through. Okay. Oh, my 2-year-old has started waking up at 5 and 3 a.m. and just yelling. He's in a major patch of sleep regression right now. But if I go in there, then he will learn that all he has to do is yell, and I'll go in there. So, alright, so I'm going to start scraping now. Something about this, I don't know, it's just bouncing a lot for me, so I'm going to get it thin enough, and then here we go. Gotta back this off for the opening. Because remember, can't put the curved part on, it has to be the straight part. So we're just gonna slow it down a little bit and scrape. Yeah, maybe a little quicker than that. Alrighty. Oh, buddy, you gotta go back to sleep. There we go. Start taking the base down a little bit. Oh yeah, he's not going back to sleep. All right, I got 3 minutes here. First things first, I'm gonna highlight this bead just a little bit more. I'll bring in for this one. So. Gotta tell you, that's my favorite kind of shading that comes off of the tool. Just that super fine fluff. All right, so now those beads are standing proud. I think it's good. I'm gonna start taking on the base here a little bit. Let's see. I think we're actually in reasonable shape here. BW Woodturning. Oh, yeah. On the other stream, yes. Good afternoon, Michael Wilson. Happy to have you here. All right, so I'm going to take the base down a little bit. Then I think I'm going to wrap this in saran and probably finish it up this afternoon, hopefully on my lunch break. Glove off. we might actually be able to pull this off in the allotted time before we go pencils down. Okay. Really. It's actually not that thick down there either. I think this might work. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get this thin, do a quick sand on it. I think we're gonna call it a day. If you hear the shock in my voice, it's because I broke the initial rim here. Let's see. Hey, thanks, Michael. 12 beef spoke pens. Oh, that's nice, man. I used to turn a lot of pens. That's how I bought a lot of the tools in the shop. All right, so I'm just gonna get this portion thin. Super useful to have one of these in your pocket, like a really, really thin spindle gouge. Get into tight spaces. We're gonna do a super quick sand here. And then, yeah, the idea is I'm gonna let it warp, and then I'm gonna sandblast it once it's completely dry. So bring up dust collection here. Get some sandpaper really fast. All right, so I was in this debate with my buddy yesterday. What's your ideal Halloween candy? Because I'm a Reese's guy, but they also stopped giving out York peppermint patties, and I don't know what year that happened, but I miss them. Like I hadn't thought about a York peppermint patty in years. And my buddy and I started talking about the Halloween candy, and like I don't know, it just came rushing back, like throwing a York peppermint patty in the freezer. For me, that's like that's on the Mount Rushmore. That's like a top 4 candy of all time. It's a cold from the freezer York peppermint patty. No kidding, I can't remember the last time that I saw one. I know that's a little bit random, but I keep thinking about it. I want one now. Also, hit that like button if you put your Thin Mints in the freezer. Hit that like button if it just occurred to you that that's a great idea. new Reese's with the Oreos. Oh yeah, Reese's. Yeah. Reese's might still be the champ. So I was born in the the late '80s when we started having the like the Halloween candy scares. You know, people will be like, they're gonna put drugs in your candy, and everybody who did drugs is like, they're not giving away their drugs for free, I promise. Well, my parents would always check my Halloween candy, and my dad would always take tax on it. You know, he had his couple of favorites that he would take, and his big one was bottle caps. And talk about an old-timey, like, play jacks down at the soda fountain and eat some bottle caps candy. Like, that's an old-timey candy right there. All right. We're looking okay here. I don't think I'm going to touch those beads with anything except for 400. Let's go reverse a little bit. I can feel it pulling up the grain a bit. All right, that's what I'm going back on. Reverse for a sec, just because why not? About the Reese's with the Oreos, but that sounds like it would be my wife's jam. She's Oreo everything. That's the McFlurry, that's the ice cream, that's the cookies and cream on everything. And they released, I think it was earlier this year, they had an Oreo that had like cookies and cream filling, so it's basically like Inception Oreoception. And I thought she was gonna pass out when she saw it in the store. I mean, it was like Christmas. All right, one sec. Final touch here. Where did I put my parting tool? There we go. All right. I'll go with the long boy. And we'll spin in the correct direction. How about that? That's not the best part I've ever done, but I think we got away with it. So here's our final. I'll show you what it looks like. There we go. And there she is. We'll say a little bit heavy in the base, a little bit of a scratch there, but I'm gonna sandblast it later, so it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, overall, I think we did okay there. Beautiful. Well, that's the stream for today, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Don't know if I'm gonna hop on tomorrow, but I will definitely be here next week because, and let me just swing the light over here. I have some more of this mulberry left to do, so probably about 20 of these vessels left to go. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so you know when I go live. Thanks very much. Thanks Mike, John, Greg, everybody. Appreciate you being here. See you on the next one.